Welcome to Book Summaries. Dear friends, assets and liabilities are important concepts that help you become wealthy. What are considered assets and liabilities? Why might the house you live in or the car you drive not be assets? The first question of the program is whether anyone has read or heard of the book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, or Rich Dad's Guide to Financial Education. Please leave your comments below. Yes, dear friends, surely all of us have heard of the two concepts, assets and liabilities. However, merely hearing about them and thoroughly understanding them to apply them in life are two entirely different things. From my observation, many people do not understand or even misunderstand these concepts, which is very dangerous. These are very important concepts on the path to building personal finance and creating wealth and prosperity. Understanding them correctly will help you build a strong personal financial foundation. In today's video, I will share with you these two concepts, hoping to assist you somewhat on your journey to building personal finance and a prosperous, wealthy life. Before we dive into the content, please like, subscribe, and share to support the channel. Thank you very much. Lesson 1. The concept of assets and liabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, assets and liabilities are concepts first introduced by Robert Kiyosaki in his book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. According to Robert Kiyosaki, he defines assets as things that bring money to you, helping you earn more money, and liabilities as things that take money out of your pocket, causing you to spend more money. To make it easier to understand, let's look at the examples below. An example of a liability is a car you are driving, which depreciates over time, and you have to pay for gas and maintenance. A house you are living in requires you to pay for utilities and monthly services. A new iPhone you use to browse Facebook and Zalo every day will depreciate over time. These things take money out of your pocket, so they are called liabilities. An example of an asset is a house you rent out, which generates a stable monthly cash flow. A car you lease out generates income for you. Company shares provide you with income. These are all things that bring money into your pocket, so they are called assets. Yes, from the above examples, we can see that the same item, such as a house, can be either an asset or a liability. A house is an asset if it generates money for us every month, and it is a liability if it takes money from us every month. Similarly, the same applies to a car. If you buy it solely for personal purposes, you will spend money on gas, parking, and monthly maintenance, making it a liability. However, if you buy the same car to serve your work, helping you meet partners and secure more contracts, then it becomes an asset. Therefore, the same item can be either an asset or a liability, depending on how we use it and whether it brings money to us or takes money from us. Lesson 2. The diagram of income and expenses. Below is Robert Kiyosaki's diagram illustrating the relationship between the costs of assets and liabilities. We can see that assets generate income, while liabilities generate expenses. Therefore, to achieve financial freedom and wealth, we need to accumulate assets and reduce liabilities, meaning we should buy things that bring money to us and reduce things that take money from our pockets. The biggest difference between the rich and the poor is not their ability to earn money, but where they spend their money when they have it in hand. This is why Robert Kiyosaki has a famous saying, "The rich buy assets, while the poor buy liabilities." Because many people do not understand these two concepts clearly, they encounter financial troubles. Let's move on to part 3 to see if you can relate to this. Lesson 3. The rich buy assets, the poor buy liabilities. Yes, in our lives, we can see that there are many people who, when they have some money in their hands, the first thing they think of is to buy a liability. When they are students, the first thing they buy with money is a new phone or a new computer. When they are new employees, they think of buying a Vespa or an shush. When they start a family, they want to buy a beautiful house to live in or a car for convenient travel, and they immediately borrow money from the bank to buy on installments. And when they have children, they want to have a bigger house. But all of these things are liabilities. It is the habit of the majority of poor and middle-class people, many of whom have higher incomes. They earn a lot of money, and when they have money, they buy a luxury car, a BMW, a Mercedes, or a Porsche. They buy a luxurious villa to live in, they spend on and decorate their homes, buy luxurious gold-plated furniture. Essentially, luxury cars depreciate over the years. If sold, the car's price usually decreases by at least 200 million Vietnamese dongs to 1 billion Vietnamese dongs per year. After just 1 year, even if you haven't driven it much, the car depreciates, which is a major liability. As for the villa, it is a type of real estate that is difficult to sell because of its high value and low liquidity. Meanwhile, they are living in that villa, accumulating a massive liability while having no foundational assets at all. Worse still, if they are borrowing from the bank to buy the villa and the luxury car and are paying monthly interest, they all think those are assets, but in essence, they are liabilities. Even though they are living in a very beautiful house and driving a very luxurious car, one thing is certain: they are not always free from financial worries. You see them looking glamorous, but they themselves are always anxious about their finances. Some people do not have any worries until they painfully and miserably have to sell their luxury cars and homes because their income is no longer the same. This situation is called being fake rich. Their wealth is like building a house without a foundation, which can collapse at any time. The taller the house, the easier it is to fall. While beautiful houses and luxurious cars are tempting for most people, if you are not fully aware of this difference, anyone can easily be drawn into it. Once you are drawn in, you will be pulled deeper and deeper, making it very difficult to withdraw. You will forever be a slave to money and eventually die for it. The key to wealth is to delay temporary material gratification. It is not that we do not have the right to buy luxurious, expensive things for ourselves to enjoy life, but we temporarily postpone it to focus on assets first. Lesson 4. Applying it to life. For example, a married couple saved up an amount of 500 million Vietnamese dongs. In the first case, when they had 500 million Vietnamese dongs, they immediately thought of buying a car for convenience. The additional monthly expenses were about 5 million Vietnamese dongs, including monthly parking fees, fuel, maintenance, repairs, parking fees at public lots, and insurance. Each year, their expenses increased by 60 million Vietnamese dongs. After 3 years, the total expenses amounted to 180 million Vietnamese dongs. At this point, they realized that having a car did not bring them much benefit, and their monthly expenses had increased significantly. They decided to sell the car and received 300 million Vietnamese dongs from the sale. Thus, from the initial capital of 500 million Vietnamese dongs, they recovered 300 million Vietnamese dongs. After deducting the 180 million Vietnamese dongs in expenses, they had maintained the car for 3 years and were left with 120 million Vietnamese dongs in cash. Therefore, after 3 years, they incurred a loss of 380 million Vietnamese dongs. In the second case, this couple accidentally watched this video on YouTube, and they clearly understood the concept of assets and liabilities. They decided to buy a car for 500 million Vietnamese dongs, but they rented it out to a travel company, earning 10 million Vietnamese dongs per month. In 1 year, they earned 120 million Vietnamese dongs, and after 3 years, their income was 360 million Vietnamese dongs. After 3 years, they decided to sell the car and received 300 million Vietnamese dongs. Thus, from the initial 500 million Vietnamese dongs, they received 360 million Vietnamese dongs in earnings and 300 million Vietnamese dongs from the sale of the car, totaling 660 million Vietnamese dongs. Therefore, after 3 years, they made a profit of 160 million Vietnamese dongs, while still having the principal amount of 500 million Vietnamese dongs. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can see that with the same amount of money, but with different mindsets about money, you will get 2 different outcomes. There are significant differences between the rich and the poor, and one key factor is where they spend their money. The poor tend to indulge their emotions, while the rich focus on longer-term goals. Here, I want to emphasize a crucial message. If you want to be wealthy, examine what you currently have and ask yourself if it is an asset. If not, can you turn it into an asset? Look at what you have that is a liability. Can you eliminate it or reduce it? Can it be converted into an asset? When you have an asset, find ways to keep it or transfer it to a bigger and better asset. Never sell an asset to buy a liability. The reason many people are becoming poorer is that they don't understand what constitutes an asset and the importance of assets for their wealth and financial safety. When they lack money, they sell assets, sticking only to this formula, which leads them to become increasingly poor until they have nothing left. In summary, in this video, we need to clearly understand the concepts of assets and liabilities, differentiate between them, and know when something is an asset and when it is a liability. The basic principle of wealth is to acquire assets. Next, here are the 5 biggest differences between the rich and the poor. Dear friends, there are many differences in the mindset of the rich compared to the poor. These differences have shaped the destiny of each individual. If you want to become wealthy or achieve something great, the first thing we must do is to believe that we, and not anyone else, are the ones who decide how our lives will be. All success or failure in life, business, or education comes from our thoughts. Mindset is the root cause of all issues. One of the mindsets of the poor is feelings of frustration, jealousy, and even resentment towards those who are more successful and wealthier. So why not change our mindset to become wealthier? Billionaires and millionaires have mindsets that are worth learning from. Author T. Harv Eker has compiled all these mindsets in his book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Below are the 5 most significant differences in mindset between the rich and the poor, extracted from the book. These mindsets can transform your life. Let's follow, learn, and share to help the community become wealthier. Mindset number 1. Poor people work hard for money, while rich people make money work for them. Most people have grown up with the programmed belief that they must work hard to earn money. While working hard is indeed an important factor, if you only work hard without using your money wisely, you will never become wealthy. Look around the world, there are millions, even billions of people working tirelessly, day and night, but are they rich? No, most of them are struggling or nearly so. In contrast, who do you see lounging around sports clubs around the world, spending entire afternoons playing golf or sailing, and who spends days shopping or weeks traveling? Yes, those are the wealthy individuals who can spend many days of the week relaxing and enjoying themselves because they know how to work smartly. They understand how to use business leverage, hire others to work for them, and make money work for them. People must work hard to earn money. However, for the rich, working hard is just a temporary solution, while for the poor, this situation can drag on indefinitely. The wealthy understand that they need to work hard until the money they earn is enough to serve them. They know that the more their money works for them, the less they will have to work themselves. Remember that money is energy. Most people invest their labor energy to earn money energy. Those who achieve financial freedom have learned to replace labor energy with other forms of energy, such as utilizing other people's labor, business systems, or investment capital. In general, you must first work hard to earn money, and then let the money work for you. Mindset number 2. Rich people prefer to be paid based on results, while poor people prefer to be paid based on time. Poor people want a stable salary or hourly wages. They need security, knowing exactly how much money will come at a specific time, every month the same. Rich people like to be paid based on all or part of the results they generate. Rich people often run their own businesses in some form, earning income from their own profits. Rich people work for commissions or a percentage of sales. They choose equity and profit-sharing options over a higher salary. Rich people have faith in themselves, their value, and their abilities, whereas poor people do not, which is why they need guarantees. Mindset number 3. The rich focus on the total assets, while the poor focus on their income from wages. When it comes to money, people in our society often ask the same question: how much money do you earn? It is very rare to hear someone ask, what is your total net worth? Very few people ask in this way, perhaps only the wealthy do. The measure of wealth is total assets, not income from your job. Total assets represent the financial value of everything you own. For example, cash, stocks, bonds, real estate, and then subtracting all your debts. The rich understand the huge difference between income from a job and total assets. Income from a job is an important factor, but it is only one of 4 factors that contribute to their total assets. These 4 factors are income, savings, investments, and simplification, meaning the money saved from unnecessary expenditures. Author T. Harv Eker advises that instead of focusing on monthly income from wages, we should focus on our total assets and how to increase them. Mindset number 4. Rich people admire other wealthy individuals, while poor people are resentful of those who are richer than they are. People tend to have their own habits and prejudices, and envy towards others is something that is hard to avoid. Poor people often view others' success with resentment, disdain, and sometimes mixed with jealousy and envy. They might even compare themselves and question why others are so lucky, or grumble about how the rich are detestable. You must understand that if you view rich people negatively, regardless of the perspective, while you wish to be a good person, you will never become wealthy. How can you become someone you constantly disdain or dislike? Author T. Harv Eker advises that instead of being frustrated with rich people, you should practice admiring and respecting them. Remember the saying, bless what you want to have. This is how wealthy people often behave. Mindset number 5. The rich focus on opportunities, while the poor focus on difficulties. The rich always pay attention to opportunities, while the poor only care about obstacles. The rich take responsibility for the results they get. They anticipate success because they believe in their abilities and creativity. They always see opportunities for themselves, which is why they are not afraid to take risks. In contrast, the poor always think about failure, lack self-confidence, and doubt their own abilities. They see obstacles, so they are not willing to take risks. The rich focus on what they want, while the poor focus on what they do not want. The rich see opportunities and immediately seize them, becoming wealthy, while the poor are still preparing. Conclusion: money is just a concept. Having a lot of money does not necessarily guarantee happiness, but lacking money will certainly lead to struggles. If you want to have more money, you simply need to change your mindset and way of thinking. Start early, read good books, meet successful people, practice, and start small. What is in your mind will determine what is in your hands. Everyone is gifted with two things by fate: the mind and time. You have the right to do whatever you want with these two gifts. As we live in the age of information technology, we should seize and develop our abilities to create invaluable wealth and make life more meaningful. Next, we'll discuss 5 things that rich people do not buy, while poor people desperately try to buy, which is why they remain poor. I wonder if any of you here have ever bought a very expensive item and later regretted your decision, thinking to yourself, "Oh, if only I hadn't bought that item, wouldn't it have been better?" How many of you have found yourselves in such a situation? Please leave a comment below to confirm. Dear friends, if you are working extremely hard and saving money but still not seeing results, it might be time to reassess your attitude towards spending. You may be wasting money on unnecessary items. It's not by chance that wealthy and successful people are very discerning when it comes to shopping. You might think that rich people enjoy spending money, but the truth is quite the opposite. Economists have discovered that there are certain items that wealthy and successful people tend to avoid. The difference between the rich and the poor is not only in their income but also in how they manage their money. Rich people always know how to spend wisely. They only buy what they need, not what they want. That is why they always seem to have plenty of money. On the contrary, poor people often strive to buy the things they like at any cost, which leads their lives to be continually strained by money. In this video, we will explore the 5 things that poor people always try to buy, even going into debt to do so, while rich people do not. Watch the entire video to see if you are making any of these mistakes yourself. Lesson 1. Buying unnecessary items just because they are on sale. Poor people often spend money on things simply because they are discounted, even though they may not need those items right away. When they get home, they regret their decision, but by then it's too late. This is not how wealthy people shop. Billionaire Warren Buffett once said, "If you buy things you don't need, soon you will have to sell things you need." To avoid unnecessary spending, it's best to make a shopping list before going to the store. This will help you avoid impulse purchases just because something is on sale. Impulse shopping is one of the key differences between the rich and the poor. Lesson 2. Borrowing money to buy a car. This is a mistake that many people make. They are individuals with a stable income but not truly affluent, yet they are able to borrow money to purchase a car. They buy a vehicle not out of urgent need for work, but simply to fulfill a dream of owning a house and a car, to impress others. In reality, many people who strain themselves to borrow money to buy a car end up becoming its slaves, working hard to earn money just to support and maintain it. We all know that the costs associated with owning a car are significant, including the purchase price, maintenance fees, road taxes, and parking fees, which are usually 3 to 4 times higher than those for a motorcycle. Parking fees alone often exceed $1 million per month. You might think that buying a car is acquiring an asset, but in fact, you are just keeping a liability at home and treating it as if it were a child. Additionally, if you borrow money from a bank to buy the car, you will have to pay interest every month. In summary, the car does not make you more comfortable or wealthy, it only drains your finances. Wealthy individuals do not make purchases like this. They only buy a car when they are truly financially secure or when their work requires it. Lesson 3. Borrowing money to buy a big house or build a large home. Many people, especially the poor, often think that spending a lifetime to build a grand and luxurious house is a mark of wealth, skill, and success. They view having a large, beautiful, spacious, and well-equipped home as a standard for measuring prosperity and success. The reality is that many people go into debt because they borrow money to buy or build their dream home. Once you achieve this goal, you often end up working tirelessly for the rest of your life to pay for it. If you take out a loan with interest, and economic conditions become difficult, leading to an inability to repay, the interest keeps accumulating, causing your debt to grow continuously. This situation can lead to a difficult life and even result in family conflicts and separation. Many young people, driven by pride, are eager to quickly acquire a grand house and borrow money to do so, believing that having a home means achieving stability and success. However, this sense of stability is unattainable when overwhelmed by debt, which creates stress and conflicts within the family. Therefore, while you are still young, carefully consider whether it is wise to borrow money to buy or build a large house. Weigh the benefits of the house against the potential pressures and risks you might face. Instead of investing all your money in a house, you could use that capital to invest in yourself and develop multiple income sources. In this way, buying a house will just be a matter of time. Lesson 4. Borrowing money to chase technology. Every year, Apple releases a new iPhone model, priced between 30 million and 80 million Vietnamese dongs, depending on the segment. Many tech enthusiasts continuously upgrade their phones, believing that having the latest and most advanced model makes them look more sophisticated and valuable. Consequently, they spend all their earnings on these phones, fully aware that while the purchase is expensive, the value of the phone depreciates rapidly. As soon as a new model is released, the previous one becomes outdated and loses value. This phenomenon is not limited to phones but extends to iPads, iPods, laptops, and various other accessories. In reality, if you have surplus money and can afford such expenses, it's not a problem. However, if you have no savings, no emergency funds for illness or unexpected situations, outstanding debts, and no support from your parents, then spending in this manner is a grave mistake. Why purchase items that are not truly necessary, only to work tirelessly day after day to pay off the debt? Doesn't it feel like a form of self-imposed suffering? Poverty is not a destiny, but if you continue to spend in such an unscientific manner, it will become a lifelong fate. Lesson 5. Borrowing money to enjoy a luxurious lifestyle. If your life is not truly abundant, don't foolishly spend money on extravagant vacations, expensive restaurant meals, or frequent outings to keep up with friends. It won't make your life better. It will only make you poorer, both materially and mentally. As people say, it's enjoyable to be on top, but being at the bottom is demeaning. Therefore, once you indulge in a luxurious lifestyle too early, it will drag you in and become hard to escape. Many people, when they run out of money and can no longer afford such a luxurious life, become manipulative at any cost to cling to it. Mistakes stem from this. Consider where you spend your money. Does it fall into this category? Let us know by commenting below. If you've learned something new today, give this video a like and share it with your friends. But don't go anywhere. We have many more interesting videos for you to watch. All you need to do is choose a video on the left or right, click on it, and enjoy. Always stay with us. Goodbye and see you again. Summary of the book. Wishing you success.